Let's take a look at VEXcode v5 and how we can use it to program our VEX v5 robot, or really a VEX IQ robot as well if we're using the VEXcode IQ platform. They're very, very similar. Most of the things that we're going to cover today are going to be going across both platforms. So first and easiest thing that I need to do, I've got my robot set up here. It's a basic clawbot. My students are using most of the nice ones, so this is one of the older beta models, but it will work for the purpose that we're doing today. So first thing I want to do is just set this up so I can drive the robot. To do that, I come to the top right hand corner and I click on this little devices icon. Open that up and I can start adding some devices in. So I click add device. Now I've got a 2-motor drivetrain on this robot. I'm going to go drivetrain, 2 motors, and let's double check, but I'm pretty sure that my left motor and my right motor are in port 1 and 2. So just looking down on it, my left motor is here, it's coming around, and it is in port 1, and my right motor is in port 2. So left motor is port 1, right motor is port 2. I'm not running a gyroscope on this robot, so I'm just going to say no gyro. And I'm just going to leave the default settings in here. You can go through and measure your robot. I am using the 4-inch wheels, but I haven't double checked my track width or my wheelbase. So with that one, I can click on done, and I've got my basic drivetrain. So without doing a lot of coding, we can set this up to drive using the remote control. So I go another device and I can add controller. Now on here, what I can do is click on the different buttons, and that's going to give me different options that I can use them for. So option 1, single joystick does everything. Option 2, the right hand single joystick does everything. Option 3, forwards and backwards on your left hand and right and left on your right hand. And option 4, tank control. I'm going to leave it on tank control. I find that that's what a lot of students prefer. So I've got that. I click done. So with just those 2 items done, I can now download this to the robot. Actually, I probably should save it first. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and we'll call this what? VEXcode. Try number 1. I prefer if students do it by the date so we can really see your revisions. But regardless, this is try number 1. I can now download this to the robot and hit run. And we should see on the controller now that I can drive it. So let's see. It does seem to be inverted, so I'm just going to stop my code. And I'm going to come back into my drivetrain. Motor 1, motor 2, is it done? And I'm just going to click on that arrow. Done. Download again. And we'll run again, and we'll see if that works. So that's forward on the left side, forward on the right side. I'm just touching it gently so it doesn't leave the camera view. But you can see, simple as that, I've got this robot driving. Really straightforward. So the next thing is I do have an arm on this robot. I'm just going to stop my code so my battery doesn't die. And I'm going to add in the arm. So to do that, I click on devices again, add a device. This time I'm going to add just a single motor. And I'll have to go down and double check again. My arm motor is this one here, and it is wrapped around into port 8. And while I'm here, I'm going to check my claw. Which is in port 3. So arm is in 8, claw is in 3. So click on 8. I'm going to call this the arm. I'm not sure if I need to reverse it or not. I'll check that later. And then I'll add another one in port 3. And this is going to be my claw. I click on done. Now I've got those set up. I can click on my controller again and I can assign buttons. So I'm going to say my arm is on my left side and my claw is on my right side. With that done, I can now download this to the robot and hit run, and we should see that I can operate those parts using the remote. I am noticing that my arm, the L2 button is going up and the L1 button is going down. So I'm going to stop that. I'm going to go into the arm and I'm going to reverse the polarity for that arm. Done. Download that again and hit run. And now that arm is working the way I want it to work. The claw, R2 is closing it, R1 is opening it. That's just up to your preferences and what you want to do. So without going into too much detail or really much coding at all, we've got this robot up and running, quick and easy. So this is going to be our first video. Come back to see how we can do this with a little more coding.